Thanks for your time.
Hi, Gary.
So you can go ahead now and announce the Brennan Johnson to Crystal Palace news to us exclusively.
Nice opening. There's probably something about the rumours, but yeah, that's the only thing I can say right now.
Because the feeling seems to be that it's a deal that suits both clubs, suits the player, and if it's going to get done in time for him to be involved in Newcastle, it needs to have been pretty much done already.
That I know nothing about and basically don't care about. Like with everything, I'm very happy to speak about everything when everything is announced or published. If that is we sign a player, we sell a player, or staff member in or out, or whatever it is. But for now, yeah, it is what it is.
Is he in your squad for the Sunderland game?
He was not a squad yesterday, and you will see that tomorrow or the day after tomorrow.
So let's assume that at some point today we might hear that he's gone to Crystal Palace. I think when you were at Brentford, you tried to sign him. So what's changed?
I would say, I'll repeat my answer as I just said. If that's the case, I would love to answer that question when and if it happened.
You're not boring. You're great company off camera and in front of camera, but the Tottenham fans, the away fans last night were suggesting that Tottenham are boring. Songs normally reserved for the North London rivals have been sung by Tottenham fans. Boring, boring Tottenham. If you heard that, I don't know whether you did, but if you've heard it since, how does that make you feel?
I definitely got some reminders about it, so including one today. So thank you for that. Yeah, it's not perfect. We want us to be free floating. I think a couple of things I want to reinforce positively is the last two away performances. To stand on, and the foundation we are building was very strong against Crystal Palace and Brentford. I think we were very good defensively, actually fantastic defensively last night. Gave them more or less nothing. I think that's hugely important. I think we understood how to close down their transitions. Then we're working very hard and understand frustration. I share them too. Very hard on the offensive part of the game, and there's a few things in that we need to do our best to improve. One of them is, for example, yesterday we lost the ball on forced errors 25 times. I show those 25 clips to the players today, just short, not just like a reminder that's focus, that's concentration, that's all that. Can we just, and of course football is a game of mistakes. You lose the ball, so that can happen because of bad decision, bad touch, whatever, or concentration. So could just half of them be better? That will provide us more attacks, and there was definitely maybe 5 at least good counterattacks where a better touch, better, then we are suddenly 3v3. Then it looks a little bit more lively, a little bit more open, a little bit better. So that's the one level we need to do. Then the next bit is the patterns and the structure and getting in the right positions. We didn't get that right last night. I showed that again to the players today. That is my responsibility together with the coaches. I always take that. And then the third thing, I think it's also okay to mention that we still lack some very important offensive players that's been out for a while. I don't want to mention it again. I'm getting a little bit bored, very bored, and sick and tired of naming them. And on top of that, we didn't have Xavi Simons for various reasons, or Lucas Bergwell. So the one who's on the pitch, always trust them, always believe in them. I think Wilson, I've said it many times, is a very promising player that I believe a lot in. Looks so lively against Crystal Palace, but also natural with a young player that it was a little bit up and down yesterday. I'm convinced he'll be very good for us. And then on top of that, you play every game, every third and fourth game. And when you do that, the ability with the concentration level and the physical level to be on the top to keep producing is what, how can you say, split the good players from the very best to do that. And sometimes you can be a good player to go to the very best, but you also learn along the way. So that's where we are right now. It's unfortunately very boring, but that's the fact. We need to do everything we can. to put a attacking, intense, front-footed performance out against Sunderland in 2 days' time. I'll do everything I can to make sure we do that. And if we do that and get 3 points, 7 from 3, which is very good, which would be a very good output. So that's the aim. By the way, against the Sunderland team, that's done unbelievable well, and I know for a fact because when I say attitude, I'm confident in my own skill set, but also very humble about who I am, where we are, and what we need to do. And I know what we are facing tomorrow against Sunderland because I've been there myself. That's going to be tough, but we need to be on it. That was a long answer, actually.
It's a long answer, but a determined answer. Is it also a long answer because you were hurt? You feel hurt being called boring?
No. It's a long answer because I'm explaining the situation where we are.
To dare is to do. Do you need to be more daring?
I think I'm very daring. I'm sitting here.
Enzo Maresca, obviously, is the latest managerial casualty. We know, because you said so, that you went for an interview for that very job. Was that a close shave, a lucky escape for you?
I think we don't know what happened behind the scenes. At Chelsea, it's your guys' job to be clever there and come with good suggestion to why he's not there anymore. We don't know that. I think it's so there can be very good reason for it, there can be bad reason, who knows. And actually, basically, I don't care. It's not. I have other things to worry about. The one thing I would say is it's difficult to build something sustainable, successful if you don't keep key person in the job for a long time. I said that many times, and all the top examples of clubs being successful year in year out, they had the head coach, the CEO, the sports directors, the key members, coaching staff in the club for a long time. You're welcome.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
You mentioned obviously working on the attacker. I think you said last night that you are confident that attacking performance will come. How do you give your players confidence of obviously continuing on with the defensive solidity that we have seen in the last 2 games, but then not being afraid, not being hesitant to take the game to Sunderland on time?
No, I think we, of course, keep reinforcing the messages, keep trying to do the right thing, keep trying to be brave, try to go forward. I think that's the key thing, and then understand that this Premier League is unbelievable tight, and when it's tight, it's not like it's that easy. But the main thing is that we keep being brave.
And you mentioned obviously having been in Lloris's position before, you were there with Brentford. The fact that they signed so many players, they had an overhaul of their squad, and the fact that they've done so well this season, I mean, how difficult really is it to have done as well as he has in his first season in the Premier League? I
think he's done fantastically. Very, very impressive. The first season in the Premier League. And also, as you say, with changing a lot of players, it's been very clear what they want to do. They understand that when you go up in Premier League, you need to defend very well. They're very good on set pieces. They're very good at that. They fight, they run. And now they got the confidence and done very well against a lot of teams, but also away from home. So it's going to be a tough test.
And in terms of your team news, the players coming back for Sunday, forgive me, I know you said you're getting bored of speaking about one player in particular, but just with Dominic, are we looking at sort of mid-January or late January for his potential return?
The thing I need to open up about, of course, is when you're out there on the pitch with pictures, then that's positive, of course. But to say mid-Jan or end of Jan or 25th of Jan, I will not do that. I will very much look forward to name the date when he's involved in the squad.
Any other players?
Lucas Bergwall is a doubt. We hope he'll be ready. So that's the only one.
Ali.
Hi there, Thomas. Hello again. Obviously, in the transfer windows, players go and players come. How difficult is it a manager to tell a player that's heading out the door kind of that they have to go to a new club? You know, maybe if they don't want to, or they're just not part of your plans, or in different circumstances, I guess.
I think there's different scenarios. There's players that want to leave. There's players that is a little bit on the do they want to stay? Do they want to leave? And then there's players that don't want to leave. And that is the three different cases you need to solve between sports directors, head coach, and player and agent. And hopefully, in the most cases, everyone is happy in the end of the situation.
We spoke a little bit about the bench last night. 2 goalkeepers, not a lot of options. Kind of does that show kind of how difficult it is for you right now with the unavailabilities, but also how this transfer window has to be kind of done right, and you get in players that can improve that situation?
Yeah, I think it's again, it's my job, my responsibility to find solution when there's tough times. I will never run away from that. But of course, it's easier to have a fully fit squad, and you just know, okay, I have these 5 tools. I can do this in the midfield. I can do that on the wing. I can do that on the strike. Maybe change the fullback. Whatever it is. And yes, we were limited last night, but that's part of it. There's just some games you will have like that in a season, and you need to do those spells. And I think that's another thing. Those spells, I know it's not popular to talk about, but those spells, if you then don't lose and you get a point and you're very solid defensively, that's a good thing. That can be a very good point in the end of the season. Do you want to play better? Yes, but that's unfortunate situation right now.
Just ask about the 2 goalkeepers in that situation. I mean, kind of what made you pick 2 goalkeepers rather than maybe, I don't know, another young player with a talent?
That could also have been the case. It wasn't last night.
Okay. And just briefly on Wilson, you touched on him earlier, Wilson Odobert. Feels like he's got so much kind of raw potential and talent in there, but then there'll be moments in games where maybe he's not as strong, and like last night we saw Jordan Henderson outpace him, which shouldn't probably happen.
With all due respect to Jordan, yeah.
Yeah, of course, terrific player, but shouldn't be outpacing Wilson Odobert. I mean, what does he have to work on and develop to become the player that he can be?
Yeah, I think take the positive away from the Crystal Palace substitution role, where he was so lively and they couldn't catch him and should have scored at least a goal. And then last night, I think there was still some very positive glimpses, and I think he is in the situation where he take a little bit better decision when there's, let's say, 3 times the touch, because even he's taking that will just get him in a top position. He's turned and we're 3v3. Instead of it's a bad touch and then we go the other way, for example. So just keep learning on that. Keep learning that. That's just a normal part of football. And unfortunately, there's a little bit extra focus in the Premier League, but hey, that's part of it.
We'll finish this section with George, please.
Hi, Thomas. This question has been asked to your predecessors as well, but can you be successful at Tottenham without the Tottenham fans behind you?
I will try to maybe turn that question around to say, if you are successful, the Tottenham fans will be behind you. So the fans will get behind us, and I'm pretty sure that, some booed last night, and I'm still pretty sure there's a lot of fans are behind us.
I'm sure there is, but when you think that you've had 2 London derbies away, you've got 4 points, 2 clean sheets, on paper that looks progress. But at the end of the game, you've got them booing yourself and chanting boring, boring Tottenham. Is there kind of a misalignment here with what you see as success in terms of results and the sort of style of football that they need to see but they're not seeing yet?
Yeah, well, I think expectation is good, and I also think this is we are probably in a bit of a transition. Not that we don't want to play a lot better, but the club, the squad, the injuries, all that, taking into consideration, is part of that. And in a transition period when not everything is perfect, and you don't get the win or we don't play as good as we want or I want. I'm very aware that the Crystal Palace win. I'm very happy with it because it's very important to have the ability to do that, but also very aware that we didn't play as good as I want. in that aspect, but also acknowledge where we are. So it's just that understanding of that, and that's fair. That I understand it a little bit better, and the fans want more.
And obviously it's not just down to you this, but I think the fans are struggling with what the plan is for the sort of this season under yourself long term. I know you spoke about competing in all competitions, but what for you would be success this season, and what would be success in season 2, and so on?
I think I'm 100% sure will happen is that I know we will be able to score a lot of goals, and I know we will be much more dominant in a lot of games. But with the current situation, with too many of the top players out, playing a lot of games, that just make it more tricky. Also with no time to train, just reality. I think there's not one coach that will not say that. And then we need to manage everything between that. And that is just small steps in the right direction every day. And keep walking forward, keep improving, and then things will take care of itself. Probably answer a few more questions in press conference like this, improve a little bit, get the wins, and then it will be forgotten because it goes like this. Right now it's the talk of the town, fair enough. Tomorrow will be forgotten, it will be a new thing, and we just behind the scenes need to be calm and work on the things very hard, and keep improving.
But sort of would kind of a top half finish be success? Would sort of 12th be success where you are now, or do you sort of think you have to be Europe kind of thing?
I think for me that's to name a position where we should end or want to end. I think there's so many things you don't control in that aspect. I promise that we are very ambitious. We know exactly where we want to go, but I think it's about improving next step in front of me. Make sure that we come up flying Sunday against Sunderland. Look more in sync. I think reality is will not be perfect, but can we see good glimpses of more offensive attacking threat and get the win? That would be a step forward.
I suppose creative players missing. I suppose the type of football that's kind of played in the Premier League these days, it seems like in the margins, what happens in the boxes. Should we expect a similar type of thing against Sunderland as to what we saw yesterday?
Of course, I hope we can create more, and I also know we can do that, and that's always the aim. But I expect a tight game against a team that will know exactly what they do in terms of defending and run very hard. And of course, as you can say, if you have three of your key creators out, Madison, Xavi and Kulusevski, that limit, of course, that final pass. So we know that final pass with the perfect weight to open up a defense helps. Hey, that's not a tool I have in my toolbox. So I need to find other solutions to make sure that we improve, get over the line and get 3 points, and then we step forward from that.
And I suppose one of those players, particularly with Johnson seemingly on his way out, is Kudus, who's, you've invested in this summer and he's played a lot this season. I'd say, in recent weeks, probably haven't seen the absolute best of him. Do you need to see him and, I suppose, other senior players and creative players step up in that?
Yeah, I think it's two things. It's always my responsibility to help them, guide them to get in the best position, and then of course the players need to perform. That's not they know that they're professional. Mo is a top guy, and he wants to do good and do better, and I think he had overall a good season for him. But I think also there's a lot of focus on him. If they close him down, then where the other threats come from. So that's the thing we need to work on, make sure there's all threats, or we put him in good positions where he can produce some of those moments.
Is there, I suppose, a lack of coherence in, Tottenham are a club associated with playing really daring football, obviously it's the motto, and people say Tottenham can be bad but never be boring, etc. But also, going back to that first point, just not having the kind of players available versus, what they had in previous years, 4 or 5 years ago in terms of top level creative attackers, that you feel like you're building in a way that suits this team the best to pick up results. But perhaps naturally, if you're on the way to picking up points, it's not going to be the most entertaining kind of football based on the players that you've got available.
I think that's part of that. As I said, all the teams I had before, we have been top goal scorers in the league, so we have created top scorers, and that will happen again. That I'm absolutely 100% convinced about. But also know along the way we need to get enough points to tweak a few bits. But we still need to make sure we play forward and we play enough expansive football and do that. But everything is connected. If you then open up and we lose 3-1, but it looks that's not good either. So is that a fine balance?
Dave?
I was going to ask you, Thomas, is it important to resist any temptation for a short-term fix, let's say, in the January window? Somebody who can just come in and help you for, say, 4 months?
I think as I said, we are out there in the market and we'll do everything we can to improve the squad. But I'm also there that I think we should be so aware of short-term impact can't limit long-term success, because then I think we've done badly. But of course, on the flip side, can we do something that really will improve? I think we should go very hard for that.
Sure. And I was going to ask you, if it's not possible to add anyone in January, it's clear that you want to make some signings. Mm-hmm. But if it's not possible, if all, the long-term signing, the play for the short, medium and long-term isn't there, are you kind of strong enough to say, okay, we'll stick with what we've got?
I would say that it's like with everything, we have lists of players and we have number priority 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 in every position, of course. And you go to number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, probably not as good as you want. And is number 6 good enough for us to get where we want to be in the future? Probably not. But it's a fine balance. Sometimes you need to take some steps forward before you can get the perfect solution. So that's why we need to every decision, as I said, every decision we make need to be for long-term success, but very aware of how impactful it can be now as well. So that could end with that, but of course I hope that we are. I know I know Johan, Fabio, and I are working day and night to do everything together with the recruitment team. The family is backing us with everything, but I think the best clubs take good, sensible decisions.
Just quickly, just finally on the Man Solomon transfer, the optics of that with what's going on around Fabio seem pretty strange, shall we say. But can you talk a little bit about, from an internal point of view, how that move has been decided and what's in it for Spurs essentially? Yeah, I just think that different players,
every player that is a transfer is something we agree on is the right decision. So in that case, the same.
Matt?
Hey.
On that, it's been portrayed in Italy as Fabio's first signing for Fiorentina. Who's he working for in this window?
Good question. Maybe I think Fabio is Tottenham sports director, and spoke to him 2 days ago. No, not 2 days ago. Spoke to him yesterday. He was working very hard for Tottenham.
Do you think you'll get something that will help you in this window this year?
I just know when I speak to Fabio, spoke to him twice yesterday, Johan this morning. The two of them were working very, very hard.
Can you give us a sort of an idea on how you see your transfer strategy? I know you sort of say, anything that can help us, we want in, but we sort of saw a period when you were signing teenagers, you saw a period in the summer when you were signing older players with Champions League experience. And What's the priority for you?
I think it always needs to be both. Of course, we like players that can impact the team now. That is the main priority. But at the same time, it's not that we just stop signing teenagers, because I think you need to have players impact now, but also players that can help the team for the long term. Sometimes you sign maybe a young player that is good enough to play now. Sometimes you sign a young player that is one that you come in and send them on loan, and then they're part of the long-term thinking. So it'll still be a mix of both.
When you talk about developing players into top scorers, as we saw you do at Brentford, you mentioned, who in this team can you turn into a top scorer, and how?
I think there's a lot with the potential in that aspect. So first and foremost, I think Richie have done well compared to a lot of other seasons. He's fit and available, and still playing without key creators behind him. Always really like Solanke. Said that many times. I'm convinced he will score a lot of goals for us when he's fit and available. I think Wilson got a very good potential. Matty got a very good potential. Mo needs to score more goals. Will score more goals. Okay.
Hi Thomas. How do you balance very genuinely explaining why Tottenham are where they are right now, as you have got a past half hour, without, I suppose, making it sound like you're making excuses? How do you strike that balance between those two?
How do you think I'm doing?
Very well.
Thank you. It's of course that's always it's a good challenge to try to manage expectations, and probably one of the biggest challenge as a head coach or in life for anyone. Also manage expectations to your wife. That can also be a challenge sometimes. I think we all experience that sometimes. But I also, as I keep saying, reality is that 3 years ago we finished 8th playing in Champions League. Last 2 years ago we finished 5th not playing Europe. Last season we finished 17 playing Europa League. This season we're playing Champions League and playing in Champions League, and still lacking quite a few of our key players. So that just make it a little bit of a challenge. We work very hard on improving the players we have, and they work very hard to do everything they can to help the team. So that's just one step at a time.
How has your maybe understanding of Spurs expectations and Spurs fans' expectations perhaps evolved or changed over the 6 months or so you've been here?
I knew exactly what I went into. I knew exactly it would be a big challenge, and of course you always hope for. When I walked in the door, I didn't expect Solanke and Maddison to be out for 7 months, as an example, or Kulusevski not to be ready for. That's one thing, but I knew it would be a big challenge, and I knew it will be a transitional season, and I knew we are building something that I convinced will be very good in the future. I know we are, how can you say, there's a few things to improve, but I'm very aware what it is.
And just with Sunderland, as you spoke about, you'd like to score some more goals. Sunderland have the best defence in the league this season, or at least have conceded the least goals in the league this season. Just how difficult an opponent would they be for you, given their record, and also you'll need to maybe put a few more goals in the net?
Yeah, but that'd be very tough challenge. I know that, and that's why when we start the game tomorrow, we need to come out flying, come brave, intense, and we need the fans with us. They need to help us. That's what everyone need when you are in a place where everything not free flowing, clicking. That's where you help each other. We help each other to get each other over the line. Everyone will be very happy for 3 points on Sunday, where they almost suck the ball into the goal because they keep pushing players, helping the players. That's what we need.
Just on that, I was just going to say earlier, your answer to George about the fans will be with you when you have success. I was going to ask, how much is it on the team to give a reason to believe to the fans in this game against Sunderland at home? I mean, after what happened the other day, are you worried about the atmosphere of still going into that match?
No, there's a lot of other things to worry about. I think in life there's much more important. What I'm worried about, not worried, what I'm focusing about is to make sure that we perform in the best possible way. And that's all my focus on that. And then I think it's also to make sure if we perform well, if we do what we do, but also when we struggle. I talked about that before, that hasn't changed because there was some chant last night. When we play the game tomorrow, we need the fans behind us, and they need to push us, need to help us. It's just facts, that's the way it is. And then, because if they can see we run hard, we do everything we can, then they should help us all the way, and that's hopefully enough to win the game.
It's the first home game in 2026, I think it's fair to say, in the Premier League at home for Tottenham, and 2025 was a year that no fans really want to look back on. I mean, you said before about the need to turn it into a fortress at home, but what gives you confidence at the moment that you can do that going into the year?
I think because I think again that this is a perfect, beautiful example of how football works. There's one snapshot of the game yesterday. So before that, at home we played against Brentford, played a very good game. The fans were fantastic. Played against Slavia Prague, they helped us, were fantastic. Played against Liverpool, they almost gave us a draw where it seemed like everything was a little bit against us. So the last 3 home games, the fans been very good. Then there's a bit of chant last night, and boom, now it's the biggest problem in the world. So I'm pretty sure that all the fantastic Tottenham fans we have out there, they want the best for the team, for the players. They want to do everything they can to push them. And why not? Hey, his life and football is hope. There's always hope. So we're going to that game tomorrow, there's massive hope. So there's massive hope that we can start 2026 with a win and make it one step closer to make it a fortress.
You said earlier about you knew exactly the challenge you were taking on. It felt like in Brentford, you were the ultimate job. You've been in your comfort zone, perhaps. This is out of your comfort zone. You're really something a lot, and now you've got some new challenge to take on. How much are you enjoying this?
That's the good question. I like that question. When you are, let me put it this way: when you need to put in a big shift, and it's not smooth, and it's tough, it's probably difficult to enjoy it. So I will give you an example. If I run hard, I don't enjoy that moment. But I know I need to keep my head down and run hard to get through it, to get my whatever fitness up, or to win a race, or whatever it is. So we are in the situation you need to run hard to stay in it, to get through it. And then on the other side, when we look back on this spell, or maybe this first year where it was tough, we think what a learning, what an experience, made us so much better for the future. So the short answer is no, but reality is you can't. But when I put myself out of it and look down, I think what a learning, what a privilege to be in charge of this fantastic club in a period where it's a big transition. I think someone told me that I would have changed 8 leadership guys in the top of the club. The transformation 2025 has never happened as much in 140 years. There's a lot of changes, but the potential is huge. It's my privilege to be in press conference like this, to answer questions, and also the day before, but that's part of it. So I'm looking forward to look back at it and thinking, big learning, now I'm enjoying it.
Lastly, to use that running analogy, being a manager, it's a marathon, not a sprint.
It's definitely a sprint, and it seems like, no, a sprint, it's definitely a marathon. It definitely seems like it's one of a little bit more heavy miles I'm on now, but head down and keep going.
Thanks, guys. Thank you.
Okay, guys, thank you. Huh?
Have you ever run?
No, I should do. I think I'll run okay. I'm probably working too much.
Thank you so much.
But I still run okay.
Thank you guys.
Thanks.
Yeah.